everyone. How are you? Happy day. Colleen here. If you've never been introduced to me before, I'm super excited to be sharing this space with you. One thing that I'm super passionate about is empowering people to understand why it is they're here on this planet and then be able to create a life they love. So I started very young, being able to live, work, and play wherever I wanted in the world. And I feel like part of my life's calling is to guide people understand what their purpose is and design a life around that. And so this is day 9 of the 31-day lives that I'm doing in October for the launch of my third book, An Uncompromised Life, which is so exciting. This new book is the work of my life. It is the work of grounding the visions, I should say, or spirituality life I've gone on into planet Earth. So I'm super, super excited about this. And when you join and you don't know what an uncompromised life is, you can look at my feed. But it's basically a story where I compromise my character for love, like many women do. And I pretended like I didn't have needs or desires. And due to that, I wound up with an unplanned pregnancy that I didn't know I could have because I was told when I was diagnosed with cancer at age 14 that it'd be very challenging for me to have children. And so in an unhealthy relationship I was in, that occurred. And then through that means I let the child go. But the name Ella came to me through 3 different means, letting me know that I meant to adopt my daughter in the world. And so I wrote this book for anyone who's gone through loss of any kind, child loss or just loss in general, and also excruciating heartbreak or pain, to really understand how to overcome it. And so I feel like each of us, when we choose to live with our soul, when we choose to understand there's a higher calling, a higher purpose of why we're here, we create a life that we could never even imagine. And I believe that social media is a tool of connectivity. So I feel like always expressing ourselves on these platforms allows us to grow deeper connections and expand our environment of what's possible for us. So with that, day 9, what I'm talking about is fear of speaking. I feel like many of us have this, and I know I definitely had a huge fear of speaking my truth, speaking what was on my heart, speaking what was on my mind, because I felt like if I spoke about who I was, I would be rejected or I wouldn't be accepted, or there would be all these other conflicting things going on. And so I want to go into this a little bit because I know this is a huge thing that many of us struggle with. Before I do that, I just want to share, when you share this video on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, or on Instagram, any of the things you tag me, so I know you get entered in to win a drawing at the end of October. So October 31st, we're going to do a drawing of 3 names. And what you receive is a free signed copy of An Uncompromised Life, a free signed copy of my first book, Live Your Truth, my Oracle deck, and then you also receive, the first person we pick 2 one-on-one calls with me, the second person receives 1 each one-on-one call with me. And so remember to share this and tag people so I can get the word out for it. And then after October is over, I'll leave all the videos up that we did in October for 1 week. After that, they all come down and they're going to go into a live program that will be launching with the book. So with that, fear of speaking, one thing these 9 days, or I should say these 31 days, is it's about 31 ways that I broke my heart and then 31 ways that I created it into a great love story. So, fear of speaking. I feel like many of us have this, whether it's on camera, whether it's social media, whether it's just speaking in public, whether it's just speaking to our significant others, whether it's speaking to our friends. I remember that I would be in college, and people would ask me simple questions like, what is it you want to do? Or what is it you think about that? And I would be so fearful to express myself. I would be so fearful to say what was on my heart, say what was on my mind. I would literally have so much fear in me that if I said what was really going on, I would be rejected. I wouldn't be accepted. I remember I would drink, I would go to the bar drinking just so I could communicate, because I literally didn't know how to talk about my feelings. I would show up to relationships almost in this anxious state of I don't know what to do, because if I say the wrong thing, this person may leave me or may not be around. So I'm just going to show up and pretend like there's nothing going on inside of me. And this caused me to be arguably hyper successful or hyper addicted to success. I would do anything to be successful. And I did that, but it still left me empty. Even when I worked in corporate, I remember my bosses would ask me things and I literally could not communicate what was on my heart or mind. I would literally feel so upset, or there was I would feel like, it's like someone would be like, Colleen, what do you think about this? And I would have a feeling of what I wanted to say. Like I knew how I feel, but I physically like couldn't get it out of my throat. Like I would want to like crawl up in a ball and be like, I'm just going to go over here and like do what I need to do and then like leave. Like I physically couldn't communicate. And when we have that like paralyzation of speaking, it causes extreme anxiety, extreme stress, even PTSD really, because you start compounding betraying yourself, like saying nothing, like shrinking yourself because you feel like it's the best thing to do instead of just saying what's on your heart and mind because you, again, are just so afraid. Like it's almost like, okay, it's like this. Almost if you have a really, really bad stomach cramp or almost if you have like a really, really bad headache and like your head is just like pounding, but you know that you need to get work done or you have like a deadline, but you're like, I can't tell anyone this headache is going on because if I do, I could lose my job. Like it's literally like fight or flight. Like I could die if I say that I have a headache going on because I have to finish this so much that I can't communicate I have a headache going on. Because if I communicate this, everyone that I've ever known, every environment that's ever around me is going to leave. And that's the most terrifying thing to think. Like the most terrifying thing for anyone is to think like, I have this life and I'm living this life. And then if I said who I really was, if I expressed what was really going on, everyone around me would leave. My environment that I've known, my parents, my friends, they would disapprove of me. They wouldn't be there. Like it's so excruciating. But this pain, like this headache is growing inside of you. You're like, it's so painful. It's so painful, but I can't speak about it. I physically can't do it. And so what is it the thing that makes people move from fear to courage? Like when I look at my life, even when I was so afraid to leave corporate and I moved across the world to New Zealand, like I had this amazing job with a $23 billion company. And I remember like being so fearful, but what is it that made me make the jump of like, this is the date, I circled it on the calendar and do it. And I feel like we break our own heart, FYI, it's no one else that breaks our heart. Like we break our own heart when we have a fear of speaking. We break our own heart when we don't show up on camera to do the business. We break our own heart when we don't say what we really want at McDonald's or, I shouldn't say McDonald's, but at the restaurant. When we break our own heart when we don't really communicate what's on our heart. Like we literally are breaking our own heart from that space. And so from that, how do you grow the courage? You have to look inside of you. And the moment for me is when I was on that plane to New Zealand, like what made me circle that date is I just remembered, I literally looked at my life. Like I asked myself the question, like if I'm 35 years old, even when it was 28 really, if I was 28 years old, could I still be doing this? Like, could I still be living here? And I couldn't. I literally had to think to myself, like if another year passed, one more year passed, and this is the same shit I'm doing, wishing I was further in life, having to wait a certain amount of time to get somewhere. Like someone saying you have to wait 4 years or 2 years or a year, like to do what I really wanted to do. Could I do this? And I couldn't. You guys, I remember in my heart, like when people were like, you have to wait this long or this long, I was like, I cannot live on someone else's timeline. I can't do that. Like I physically can't. It's almost like I feel like a kid who like really wants to be in college already, and like they're like, why do I have to go to this high school? Can I like get these classes done so I can go do the classes I really want? It's almost like that. Like you have this thing of like, why am I functioning on a timeline I know I'm not meant to function on? And then you start to get creative and be like, okay, I know this is meant to happen quicker for me. I know this is meant to happen sooner. So how do I collapse this time? And from that space, there's something that happens in that time. I don't know really how to explain it. But there's something that happens in that time of fear of speaking, of like, oh my God, there's something inside of me that's not congruent with what's coming outside of me. And that moment when you like have a decision of I'm making it congruent. I'm doing it. And for me, I really, really believe it's that time when you, from fear of speaking to courage, happens when you just go, I could not live with myself if I were to die and I didn't try this. Even if I failed miserably, I still would have to do it. Like I couldn't die and like fully in my head be okay with it. And I have to go to that extreme because for me, it's like, that is what, to me, that's what overcomes the fear. To me, that's what overrides the thing. Like that's what recreates the neuron. That's what puts me into a new space. And so, fear of speaking gets you in unwanted situations. It has you doing things you don't want to do. The moment that you can start to actually see that you can feel safe to be who you are, to say what you want to say, That's when you move to courage. That's when you start creating love stories. That's when you create the story of, I was having an anxiety attack on my way to New Zealand on the plane. Like, oh my God, what am I doing? I'm moving across the world. I don't know anybody, but I'm doing this. That is what makes you breathe through those moments. That's what those initiations happen. And that's what makes you really stop settling in life. And so with this love story or this fear, what I want you to know is that the longer that you stay in heartbreak of not speaking who you are, the longer you will continue to manifest trauma, unwanted situations, unhealthy situations, things you hate. The longer that you stay not sharing what you really want, the longer that's going to happen. And the quicker you can look at the timeline of your life and go, what is it I want in 6 months? What is it I want in 12 months? What is it I want in 5 years? What do I want my life to look like? The sooner that you do that, and the sooner that you just take the damn action, the sooner that fear becomes less and less and less, the more congruent you get with practicing what's coming up in your body. And so anyway, I hope this serves you. I know with Ella, this is exactly what caused me to live a compromised life, is I wasn't being honest about the type of relationship that I desired. And I wasn't being honest about things that were upsetting me. And I thought that I just could push it down and pretend they weren't there and that they were non-existent. And that caused a lot of unhealthiness for everyone involved, but also it gave me the greatest gift of my daughter. So I wanted to share that with you all. And I want you to know that you are so close to living an uncompromised life. I want you to know that you are so close to being fully healed. You are so close to being on your journey of embodying your soul at a deeper level. And when you receive this and you want to go deeper, 1, you can message me to pre-order my book, An Uncompromised Life. 2, you can comment below community to join the community. And 3, for October, if this is a conversation where you're really suffering with heartbreak, you're really suffering with communicating your truth, you feel like you have extreme anxiety, like you feel like you look at your life around you and you're like, I want to say these things. I've been there. Like, you guys, I remember, like, my mom would ask me things of like, Colleen, what is it you want to do? And I would be like, I don't know. Like, I always knew what I wanted to do, but I would be like, I'll just go along with them. Or like, my friends would be like, I want to do this. And I didn't really want to do that. I didn't want to go to a baseball game. I didn't really want to watch TV. Like, I wanted to go on a walk, but I would like literally not communicate. Like, I had such a fear of speaking simple things like that. So let alone could I be able to communicate on something massive? No way. So you've got to look at your life like this. Like, what are the small things that you're not communicating on? And I write about this in my first book, Live Your Truth, because those compound over time to exactly why your life is the way it is. And so if this is something you're struggling with and you want to overcome, like how to speak online, how to speak publicly, how to understand what you're feeling, message me. Because just for the month of October, I have a special where you get 4 calls with me through the end of the year, and it's $1,495. So just message me and we'll get you the details for that. And I love you. I want you to know when you are watching this, you're so close to your heartbreak being complete. You're so close to falling in love with life. You're so worthy of falling in love, and you are absolutely a miracle to this world. I want you to know an uncompromised life is available to you in every moment. You can rebirth and recreate your reality, and love is just blossoming for you. So enjoy your day, enjoy your night, and please reach out with any questions.